All right, welcome in to another great, simple little episode of the Business on Purpose podcast. I'm Scott Beebe, your host, the head coach, the founder, where we get to liberate you, the small business owner, from the chaos of working in your business. We got a powerful question from a small business owner recently, and we sat in the conference room and built out a plan through this powerful question. I thought I'd walk you through it in miniature. And the question, actually, it was more so a statement, and it was, my team just doesn't trust each other. The reality is we're trying to push forward, and I keep preaching and preaching and preaching, but the bottom line, they just don't trust each other. There's no vulnerability in the room when we're together. We had a discussion about Patrick Lencioni's fantastic book. It's a foundational book to help to understand teams. It's called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Make sure to pick it up. Any small business owners, you need to do that. Go read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And the bedrock of the dysfunctions of the team, the bedrock dysfunction, if you will, is a lack of trust. Very simply, a lack of trust. And what that leads to is no vulnerability. There's what Lencioni calls invulnerability. And so where there is no trust, it's evidenced by a lack of vulnerability. And so then the question becomes, because the way this outed itself is we had a team member on this team say, hey, going into the year, the biggest thing that we've got to focus on communication. And I finally just said, you know what? I hear that from a lot of people. We've got to dig. It's not good enough just to say communication. And that's where we started to dig and think through 5 dysfunctions of a team, think through invulnerability or lack of vulnerability, and really drill down on understanding what that is. So then it leads to the obvious question of how do we breed vulnerability? Because if we're going to build trust, we're going to have to breed vulnerability. It's going to have to be the ingredients for vulnerability. You know, we've talked about culture before, and how culture is merely a byproduct of the ingredients that exist around it, the chemistry that kind of explodes out of the combination of those ingredients. Sunshine, water, air, nutrients, and then whatever the ingredients you want to add to that might be. That's what your culture is. Culture is absolutely manufactured. It is something that you can build. You just have to put the ingredients in there. So how do you build this culture of vulnerability that then leads to a building of trust that then leads to all of the other things, the ultimate outcome of being results? How do you do that? What does that look like? So as we kind of walked through Lencioni's book a little bit and really drilled down, the only way it's going to start is by the leader of the business actually sitting down and having the conversation with the team to say, hey, this is something we have got to build out. So we have got to build a foundation of trust. In order to build a foundation of trust, we've got to breed vulnerability. And so in breeding that, what we've decided to do is set up a tone where a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, there's going to be an initial training with the team. They've already set up team meetings, by the way. So just the repetition of team meetings doesn't solve everything, although it is a powerful start, and you still have to start there. So you're going to go, I told you so, meetings aren't, no. Don't mishear what I'm saying. The meeting is still crucial. If they had no vulnerability and didn't have team meetings, now we've got a double-headed monster. Right now, it's just a single-headed monster that we're going to slay. And we're going to slay this. I'm not worried about it. In fact, I was pretty amped about it because it just leads to other opportunity, which I'm excited about. And so in breeding the vulnerability, what's going to start is the business owner is going to teach on the 5 dysfunctions of a team. And if you Google it, there's actually notes online about what you can teach on with it. And then the business owner is going to lead them through an exercise where they're going to answer some really simple but a little bit more vulnerable questions. How many kids were in your family growing up? Where did you grow up? What was your first job? What job did you like the least in your life? Simple questions. Most people should be able to answer those without a problem. And yet at the same time, it just drips a little bit more vulnerability than, how was your weekend? How was the game? How's the weather? And so we want to kind of inch our way into this. Then the third meeting is where they're going to come in and they're going to ask this question. What is your greatest strength that adds to the progress of the business? What is your greatest strength that adds to the progress of the business? And then, what is your greatest weakness that holds the business back? Ooh, now the vulnerability is going to step up, right? Then, once that, and the leader's going to have to be really, I don't want to oversell talent. The leader's going to have to be aware. Let me say that word. The leader's going to have to be aware to really make a good push, to say, I don't know if you're being completely honest with us. And just kind of push that a little bit, or make a comment about that a little bit. And then the fourth meeting, they're going to introduce this set of questions to their agenda. And they already have an agenda, but they already talk about big wins every meeting. Now what they're also going to talk about is the big failures. They're going to add that to the team meeting agenda. Some of you are jumping back going, oh my gosh, no, you can't. Yes. If you want to breed vulnerability, if there's no real boxing matches that are going on, healthy boxing matches that are going on in the business, you got to breed it. You got to breed it. And that's a little 4-meeting process, a little bit of a flow or an algorithm to help inch your way into vulnerability. And at the end of the day, you got to have a leader of that team meeting who's willing to say, hey, I sense that you're holding a couple things back. Do you mind sharing with us everything? And then once you've bred that vulnerability, over time, trust is going to be built. And once that trust is built, then you're going to be able to move the needle towards the results that you want. You know what though, guys? None of this would have come out. This whole discussion was birthed while the business owner and I were reviewing their vision from the year prior. None of this would have come out without vision. You know, we talk about it all the time. mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. If you've not done it, please, for the sake of your business, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your mental health, for the sake of your growth and development, for the sake of your customers, please write down your vision. Don't spell it out in your head. Write it down. mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. We're there to help you. Make sure to check it out and put in the sweat, equity, and the time. We'll see you right here next time on the Business on Purpose podcast.